What's good? Happy Tuesday. Lucky Lefty Podcast. The Adore Boys are in the building. Your boy Shaun Davis and SD2 Mics and the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. He's backstage. He'll be popping on in a minute. We're brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you do so responsibly. Today, spring pressure. What player or position groups are under pressure this spring and might be feeling the pressure? We'll talk about that. Then we'll delve into the safety position. Other than defensive line, safety was right behind them and that group as far as questions amongst the Notre Dame fan base defensively. Chris O'Leary met with the media, and some of the safeties met with the media, and maybe some of the things that they said will alleviate some of the anxiety that some of the fan base has about the defense going into the spring game and the off season right before fall camp starts in June. And then we can only start by talking about how the college basketball season ended last night, right? I'm here in Chicago before we get to that, and it is a beautiful day. Supposed to get up to like mid 50s or something like that, and it is a historic day as well, man. It's like a big time mayoral race. I had to make sure I pronounced that correctly. Going on in Chicago, and seeing that I live in the burbs, I don't have a vote, but it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out historically for this city. I know some of you guys watching are pretty much in the city, and get out, vote. All right, get out, vote, and we'll see how this thing turns out for the city of Chicago later on this evening. Interesting. UConn defeats San Diego State last night to win the men's basketball championship. The game went the way I thought it would. It went the way I thought it would. I thought UConn just had too many answers, right? It just had too many answers, too many counterpunches. Not just for San Diego State. There's pretty much Iona, ironically, Iona probably gave them the toughest game in the tournament, which is incredible because now Coach Pitino is once again back in the Big East with St. John's, so he'll be facing off against UConn next year. So it's going to be very interesting because Iona gave them a very tough run until UConn secured the game. And UConn was one of only three teams to win every game by double digits in the tournament. Just a flat-out dominant performance. Shout out to Danny Hurley and the Hurley family, his legendary father, who was a high school coach back in Jersey City, his brother, who's the head coach out there at Arizona State right now. The question, and I didn't know this until I saw this stat. In the last 25 years, Connecticut has the most championships in men's basketball, if I'm not mistaken, if I read that correctly. Right? In the last 25 years, I think, since 1999, Connecticut has 5, and that's the most by any school. That's pretty impressive, and they've done it with 3 different coaches, which is even more impressive, right? Of course, the architect, Coach Calhoun, and then Kevin Ollie came in, and Kevin Ollie came in. I believe he beat Michigan to win that championship, and then after Kevin Ollie, to come back and get this 5th one with Danny Hurley, that's impressive, and they've really done it almost quietly, man. Like, so much focus is on Duke and Kansas and Kentucky and other blue bloods, and Connecticut just very quietly has done it. And it made me think about Notre Dame. It really made me think about Notre Dame 15 years from now. And 15 years from now, will the narrative be, yo, very quietly, Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman have been able to do blank? So I guess that's the LL question of the day. Like in 15 years, what do you think the narrative is going to be? In 15 years, Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman have been able to do blank. You fill in the blank. Fill in the blank for me. Very interesting. Go ahead, subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. If you smash the like button, it helps with our views. We greatly appreciate it. Every time we go live, if you hit that notification bell, you'll know. And every time we post a separate video, you'll know as well. And then don't forget about our daily downloads. Now we're backlogged this week. I want you to know our YouTube page and our download page are not dropping the same day this week. We gave so much content with 2 hours on the practice report that we dropped the defensive report separately on yesterday. We dropped the offensive report separately today in 2 parts. And then yesterday's show is going to drop tomorrow morning. So it's going to be that way for the rest of the week. Like if you want to catch the YouTube show, it's current. The download is going to be a day behind all the way through Sunday. Well, we'll not only drop the best of Lucky Lefty this week, it's going to be former Notre Dame linebacker Pete Bursich. Former linebacker Pete Bursich from the University of Notre Dame. Great interview we had with him. He's going to be our best of Lucky Lefty this week. And then we'll drop Friday's show along with that this weekend. All right. And then we'll catch up and get back to our normal sourcing of downloads, which is pretty much as soon as the show ends, we start uploading to make sure that you're available to get that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. All of our great content, Home of the Misguided Passion. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know we spin it different. Left.
What's up, baby? We here live and in the prime. I'm telling you
You
that.
can play the left because there ain't no right in me. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
bust out that rage. I had to. Hey man, I think I'm going to create an Ohio boys Notre Dame T-shirt.
Ooh.
What do you think about that,
Wait a
Left?
minute, but you, I would like it.
Hold on, Left. No, I'm fair, Left. I give love to people that deserve love. Left, come on now.
I
I'm
would think
fair.
it'd be cool. It would be cool. It would be
I'm
cool.
fair. I'm fair.
No,
But
I think it'd be dope.
I've heard about one of the Ohio boys today, and it's making me think that we might have one.
Okay. Now who we talking
Now,
about?
we'll get to it.
Okay.
But it made me think, like, man, I might have to start a Notre Dame Ohio boys T-shirt.
That wouldn't be bad. That
Them
wouldn't be bad.
Ohio boys.
Then you would get a lot of love. Half of the Ohio is Ohio State. And you got your Notre Dame fans in Ohio too. They don't like talking about it too much.
See, I gotta find somebody to design it right though. What it was like them whole Ohio boys with like the names of all the Ohio lettermen that ever came through. I'm gonna have to jump on it. I have to try to jump on and design it. I'll jump on it and design it. Left, what are your thoughts about the game last night? Did it go the way you thought it would go?
The national championship game?
Yeah.
I mean, for San Diego State to really make it as far as they did, I just really was appreciative of like just the fact they made it that far. So I didn't really, I was looking for an upset just because it would be a great story because how would that make sense? You know, you're looking at college basketball history. You see a bunch of UCLA's, you see a bunch of Virginias, you see a bunch of big time schools, and then in 2023, San Diego State was the best college basketball team. So I thought for the story itself, I was like, okay, it would be cool to root for them. But UConn, I love the fact that 65% of UConn's roster wanted to go to Syracuse. And then, I mean, like they're a hometown area team. So regional teams can win the championship, it proved. And the East Coast has a lot of great teams. And UConn is a program that's well known, and it's good to see a well-known program win, give some restoration to a program that girls, men's and women's in the not so distant history were very prominent, dominant powerhouse basketball programs, and it's good to see them making a surge again when a lot of people probably didn't expect them to really do it. So it
Yo,
and it also shows you how awesome a playoff system with many teams can be, which can give us some hope on the Notre Dame side that you may have a team that's historic like Georgia, but they can lose because of the way the tournament is set up to anybody, because of the stakes, because of what it takes to get there. And, you know, us being an independent roster that's always built on either winning or not winning a championship is no in between. I think we're much more built for a second season like this playoff bracket would be because we're prepared week to week. Is every chance we get is a week to lose an opportunity to get a championship, and this playoff system fits us more. So it relates to the NCAA tournament. A team like San Diego State can go all the way. So a team like Notre Dame can go all the way when there's 12 teams in the bracket. So I think we're in a good position.
I got Jay Lamont wants us to tap in on this before we start talking some college football in Notre Dame. Tank versus Ryan Garcia. Look, I'm Team Tank. Ryan Garcia, they both talk a lot of trash, but I've been on Javante Davis for a long time.
Javante Davis is a beast. Now, I think Ryan Garcia has the right attitude going into the fight. You know, he's playing some psychological games. He's good himself. But, you know, I got to ride with Tank on this one. I just think if he just gets one shot, that's just always a dangerous thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you can break down the fight. But if he get that left going, just one time. What? That's like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson just needed one. So, you know, yeah, you got another skilled fighter, but at any moment, like Deontay Wilder,
Yeah.
and that man could just, and then you'd be like, damn, all that practicing.
Jay Carr says UConn is kind of becoming a blue blood. Hey, in the last 25 years, they have the most national championships in men's college basketball at 5. There's really nothing else to say. There's really nothing else to say. They can stand today and say we are the best men's college basketball program in the last 25 years.
Wait, 25 years?
In the last 25 years, they have the most national championships amongst men basketball programs.
That's true.
And they've done it in the shadow of Gino Auriemma and the women's basketball program, honestly. So
if you're including the women's, of course.
No, I didn't. That's not including the women's. That's just men's.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, they've been really good for a stretch. Had a dry period and won. Really, when it was like, how did that's
They
crazy.
won it with 3 different coaches. They were unranked going into the season. It's a 4 seed. It's an incredible job, man. It's an incredible job. I love the makeup. Let me tell you this. Because they don't have like Hawkins has an opportunity. Hawkins is a guaranteed lottery pick if he comes back next year. He's probably borderline lottery right now if he leaves. So no go. He can come out, but he's not a lottery pick. And a lot of people expect him to go back, so they have a chance to defend the title next year, which would be crazy if they go back to back. With the fact that Hawkins, he has the ability to go back, and they're bringing in like one of the top 10 freshmen in the nation.
But it's
And
still not better than Kentucky's freshman class that should win it next year.
oh, dude, the number 1, 2, and number 10 players in the country. Dude, I told you, I'm out on Calipari. I'm out on, dude. This not making it to the Sweet 16 with all that talent.
Yeah, it's just, this is a fireable offense at this point,
He's getting to that point. This was the LL question of the day. You can go ahead and take a punch at it, Left. We're talking narratives, right? And talking about what UConn can claim over the next 25 years. In 15 years from now, what will the narrative be? Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman have done blank over the last 15 years. Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame have done blank.
Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame have done 3 things. Made us a top 5 recruiting class every year. 3 years. Okay. Or 5 years, right? We'll have 1 championship. And Marcus Freeman will get a pay raise in the next 5 years. Recruiting will be top 5. We'll have a championship. And he'll be one of the highest paid coaches because he'll win the championship. And those 3 things is going to change the narrative of Notre Dame where we can enter into dynasty phase. So in the next 5 years or 3 years, we'll enter into our dynasty phase, provided the recruiting stays right, which I believe is only trending upwards, where we're going to sneak more 5 stars than previously expected. But then also, I believe we do have a franchise guy in the tank and another potential that's coming in. I like the way we're recruiting. I mean, even go over the film of the kid yesterday. Right. Deuce Knight. Deuce Knight, just the attempt give me goosebumps. Because everybody knows if we just recruited in a different way in a couple different spots, everybody knows the potential of what Notre Dame can be.
Let me just give you a bit of intel, right? On why Gino Guidugli is already paying dividends. The first thing out of Deuce Knight's mouth when he talked to Ryan Roberts of Irish Breakdown about his visit is how calmly Gino Guidugli teaches his quarterbacks in practice.
Oh, I believe. Look how he talks in the thing. Yeah. He's like
yo, right? Imagine if that had been Tommy cursing up a storm with Deuce Knight standing there.
Man, Tommy would have been like, man, you got to stand on the sidelines with everybody else.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
He said, I'm over here trying to do a job, man. You can't be in the way.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It was like, hey, man, what's up? Where your sandals at? Hey, you just got to take the 3-step like this, man. Just chill, dude. Which I just think having a presence at quarterback coach is great. It's just a comforting voice.
Yeah.
For a quarterback, when you're a top quarterback, you're thinking of a couple things. How can I get to the league? How can I get developed by doing that outside of just playing well? And that usually comes from having a great relationship with your quarterback coach. Not having one there, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm on my own. And I just got to rely on talent and the luck of the draw that the that the offensive coordinator is thinking about me in the offense, that all the things go right, will be all right.
Yeah.
Having a quarterback coach like for instance, when I was getting recruited by Nebraska, I had a really good relationship with Tom Herman at the time.
No, you got recruited by Nebraska, bro?
Yeah, I was gonna go.
What was the what's the vibe like? Like, that's a school that's all about football, bro.
So
that had to be a crazy visit.
My first recruiting coach, like the guy that, how you got your high school guy that's your plug, he just know how to talk, you know what I mean? So that was a huge Nebraska fan. And at the time, I'm like, man, Nebraska, who knows? But I'm Midwest, so I'm thinking of Ohio State, that type of. He's like, man, Nebraska, and this is right before. Remember, Nebraska went to the Big Ten in like 2013, so they were still in
Big 12.
12. So I'm really not thinking. And Taylor Martinez just was there. Taylor Martinez was hype in Nebraska, so it was a huge deal at the time when he was like Nebraska's man. He was telling me how they don't have any professional teams, so Nebraska was the only thing, and how that's such a big deal because they really, really care about Nebraska football. And so I started getting recruited by them. And in fact, Tommy Armstrong, who was the quarterback there, it was like, oh, you're just like Tommy Armstrong, because Tommy Armstrong just throw it deep all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like kind of getting interested in Nebraska, and so I'm getting on the phone with Tom Herman, who was the coach at the time, and him being the quarterback coach, it just was so comforting that I felt like I was there. So I all the way feel what Deuce Knight is feeling, because it feels like, okay, like damn, I can jump in the quarterback room and compete today. So I was really interested in Nebraska at the time, because I'm like, who they even got? They huge, because it was all about the fan base. That's all he would talk about. He was like, listen, you think Jesus was popular? He said, the quarterback in Nebraska? What?
Mm-hmm.
He said, college, Nebraska's not known on the college landscape like it was back in the day. But nothing changed from back in the day of the love the fans had for the school. You know what I mean? They just not winning championships. So he's trying to convey, like, he's like, do you know what it's like to never have a game not sold out? Win, lose, or draw. And he said, we haven't been great. And fans act like we Alabama. And just but the whole story is, the point of having a quarterback coach is a comforting feel that you get from it, that you can be one of the guys. And Gino Guidugli mentioned that about Kenny Minchie.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the guys. He fits in. And that goes a long way when you have a quarterback coach. Tommy wasn't going to say that, because Tommy can't focus solely on the quarterback room when he's got to coach the entire offense. So I think that's what's giving Tyler Buckner his confidence. Kenny's giving his confidence. And then Sam feels like he can be in a room and be like, I can learn. And Gino and his mentality is he's going to let me learn. Sometimes at Notre Dame, the past 10 years, it was like, man, know it. It wasn't like I'm a get you into it. It was like you either learn it or you don't. And that's a pretty tough situation to be in. Think about Brandon situation. Now think about knowing it or not, getting the offense or don't, and now think about Brandon's situation. That's a stressful place to be. Because now it's like, if I'm not running for 500 and throwing for 500 without picks, all touchdowns and big, if I'm not playing perfect, if I'm doing the wrong thing, Ian might come in at any moment. And they're not going to tell me. They're just going to be like, well, you just didn't get it or whatever. Or you throwing too many picks. Or it's a stressful position. But with Gino, I feel like it's like, okay, Sam, we'll understand. We know that you just got here. We're not going to act like you've been here all this whole time. So we're going to work with you. We're not going to act like Tyler's going to usurp you right now. We're going to let you develop because we want you to be here to win them game. That's great. I don't think Sam could operate like that, talking the way he did with Tommy, lathering up Tyler's back like that. I don't know if he could have. Tommy would have been like, oh, yeah, I'll just go with Tyler Buck. You know what I'm saying? It would have been one of those situations. So I'm glad where we are, and Gino's a good transition for us. So maybe the hippie movement is what you need.
Oh, man. That still was one of the funniest parts of yesterday's show. Shout out to Tom Balork. Happy birthday to you, my brother. Thank you for tapping in as always. Happy birthday. He said, it's my birthday. I'm off work and can listen to LL live instead of later in the day. Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Enjoy your day off and enjoy your birthday, man. Eternal blessings.
What do you do on a day off? What do you think? What do you think is the best way to enjoy a day off? Because I always think it's stressful. If you get like a Wednesday, but you got to go back Thursday or something.
Do you plan a day off?
I don't feel like you can't.
Man, chat, let us know. Do you plan out a day off? Like when you know when you have a day off coming, do you? Because most people like use it to go to the doctor, use it to take care of business that they otherwise have not had an opportunity to take care of because of work and other commitments. I don't know, bro.
I mean, technically, when
Most of my day offs are really chill and impromptu.
but that makes it a day off though. Because if you plan a day off, you might as well go to work.
I guess so.
Because you
I
know what,
guess so.
day off, you might wake up and eat some cereal. Usually, you do a breakfast sandwich. But if you planning your day off like you gotta do all these activities, you don't feel like you ever had off, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So let's see. Jason Smith said, "Nah, I don't plan on my day off." Brian Van Gordon's Burner says, "I plan on doing nothing." I got Jay Henry said, "You got to plan your itinerary." And, Jay was in the military, so
Yeah,
that's
but
him all day.
that's
Ryan Loftus says, vacation most likely. Lilo Galante said, wife does plan. I don't.
see, that's the key right there. Do you feel like your wife kind of handles the scheduling around, and you kind of like, okay, I see the calendar is set up real, real nice.
Not for me. Double Down says, nah, fam, a day off is just that. I do whatever I want, which is usually nothing. Anthony O says, loosely planned. Marcel, I'm taking Friday off just to chill. So he's already taking Friday off. You start taking those off days when it starts warming up. That's what happens.
Off days when it's warming up, huh?
Dover Wop says Notre Dame quarterback room has an NIL deal with Bath and Body Works.
They should. All that feel good they got going on in there. And it's great to have a supportive QB. Right now, we need a warrior. You know what I'm saying? We need some of that raw masculine energy. Give us a John. What would Notre Dame be like with a Johnny Manziel? We might be the hottest team in the decade.
Is Notre Dame enough of a party school for Johnny Manziel?
It was the individual's effort. He created that.
No, I'm just saying, would Notre Dame be able to fuel a Johnny Manziel? He needs his parties, bro.
Okay, what about Baker?
I don't like Baker, so let's not connect him to Notre Dame in any way, form, or fashion. He's a jerk. Like Iris says, he used to plan it. Now he's retired, and it's a different story now.
Different story. Yeah, you can't do the same thing forever.
So we talked about recruiting in a way, right? When you said when Notre Dame will be in 15 years. Once again, in about 20 minutes or so, we'll tap into Chris O'Leary and his safeties and some of the spring pressure groups and individuals under pressure during the spring. Thank you for those of you all that have tapped in with us today. Make sure you smash that like button for us. We greatly appreciate it. But I was thinking about teams like Georgia, right? The teams that ultimately you're going to have to pull off an upset, right? To get things done. And I was brought to an article in the Athletic Left. And the article is entitled, Where Do SEC Teams Recruit Most Often? A closer look at where schools find talent. And it was written by Manny Navarro, who actually joined us on the show about a month ago.
Oh, and he's put Ohio like at the bottom half of the top places or something when we talked about this.
I don't remember. Manny was really dealing with the 5 stars and how they correlate to the NFL.
Right. I thought we had like a best high school state or something conversation.
Oh, maybe in the midst of the interview we did, you felt disrespected.
I'm like, Ohio's definitely top.
You can go ahead and do this to him if you want to.
So I didn't even know Tony Yayo started that. Not John Cena. John Cena got it from Tony Yayo. Whatever.
The culture always starts. I don't even look.
I really didn't know. I really thought John Cena started.
So Alabama gets the bulk of this. This is the last 5 years of recruiting for each school. Very interesting, and then we'll get to Notre Dame. Alabama gets the bulk of its recruits from Alabama. What do you think the other two states?
Georgia, Florida, easy.
Easy.
And a couple kids from Cali at like certain positions like quarterback.
No, it's actually the top three schools are actually Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Those are the top three states.
That makes sense because of speed and size.
Yeah.
Speed and size. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Arkansas. It's not really a high school football state. They get the bulk of their talent from Texas.
I can imagine that.
And then Georgia.
Georgia. They get
Texas, Georgia, and then Arkansas.
Texas. They get their talent from Arkansas?
They get talent from Arkansas.
Wait, Georgia?
They had, in 2022, they signed 10 kids from Arkansas.
Georgia.
No, we're talking about Arkansas.
Oh, no. Yeah, okay, yeah. I thought we were talking about Georgia. Okay.
Arkansas. We're going to alphabetical order here. Georgia's coming up down the road.
Well, that makes sense. You got to have some in-state kids if you are Arkansas for sure.
Yeah. Auburn.
They get it from Alabama, Georgia, and probably Texas.
No, it's Alabama, Georgia, and then Florida is far behind. So they load up on Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah, but are we talking, when we say load up, are we talking about offense and defense alignment?
We're talking about total recruits, man. Now you trying to break down like positions and all that. We just talking about
if you recruit
talent
from Alabama, I'm thinking you're getting the offensive, defensive, like interior guys from there.
No, Alabama this year has like two of the top defensive backs in the 24 class.
Well, okay. See, last year was the guy from Florida, Cormani McLean, that chose Colorado.
It's pretty good football in Alabama, bro.
No, for sure. No, for sure. Like Hueytown is great. Bo Nix came from Alabama. Bo Nix is doing well.
Yeah. Florida. I mean, dude.
Yeah, everybody
grew up on talent from Florida. I mean,
80% of the team is from Florida.
Yeah. It's Florida, in the state of Georgia, and then in third, Texas is far behind.
Yes.
Georgia. Now we here come your Bulldogs left. Bro, they don't have to lead a state, bro. They just don't. It's really a disadvantage or an advantage for them, disadvantage to everyone else. They don't have to lead a state, and then they just go get somebody from Florida. It's Georgia and Florida. That's it. The
Georgia, number one quarterback in 26 is out of Georgia. He's so good. I wish Notre Dame would recruit him. Julian Williams.
Okay.
He's the truth.
The truth?
He's going to be the training with Shaun and all the pros. And he has he was the Georgia Player of the Year as a freshman. He threw for like 4,600 yards, 45 touchdowns. It's
like, right.
And he's out of Georgia, and Georgia already got Buford in school, and so I can imagine they're hot right now. And
this is interesting. Geographically, it makes sense though, but just from a conference standpoint, you would be like, really, Kentucky football is so they average 6 commits from the state per class, which is pretty low. You know, Georgia has classes from the state of Georgia of like 14 kids from the state of Georgia out of the entire class.
Because high school football in Georgia is so good right now. It's just so good.
Yeah. Guess what's second for Kentucky as far as players?
Ohio?
Ohio.
Yeah. Kentucky was heavy recruiting in Ohio.
It was
Heavy,
right there. They border each other. So
heavy.
yeah. And then after Ohio is Georgia. I thought that was very interesting. I
Well,
thought that was
personally,
very
being from Ohio, I know Kentucky heavily recruits. So
I thought that was really interesting.
that's what
That was-
made me start thinking that Kentucky was more Midwest. That just happens to be like, because we were so close, and they never really, you don't really see big time Southern recruits at Kentucky.
yeah.
But Kentucky is, if you visit Kentucky, you're like, this is the most SEC school of the SEC
Yeah.
schools.
Now LSU, they don't have to go anywhere, dude.
No, they don't lead the state.
For the
No,
last 5 years, double-digit signees out of their state.
easily.
Just 10, 11, 10. They have to go anywhere.
They're like
Amazingly,
Nebraska, man. They love Louisiana football down there. Like the kids are like, it's like Florida. It's hard to get a kid out of Florida that's a top recruit. You
yeah.
know,
Texas is second on that list. I expected them to go to Georgia, but Texas is far and above the second place they go for talent.
any state that borders Texas is gonna have the heavy influence of recruiting because it's the biggest state. In Texas, you can always find you a running back, always find you a big offensive defensive lineman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The style of football is like very similar, all about speed, like Louisiana, all about speed. It's hard to get over Texas if you're bordering the state.
Mississippi State.
Texas.
Mississippi, this is crazy. Mississippi State, 23, 14 in state, 22, 13 in state, 21, 9 in state, 20, 16 in state. They just rack up in Mississippi.
Hometown team. They don't have a
They just,
team, right?
they don't go anywhere. They just rack up in Mississippi. And then their second most important state is Alabama.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Alabama,
That makes sense.
Alabama followed by Louisiana for Mississippi State.
Wow. I
Yeah.
didn't know that they had that many in-state, but it makes sense because they're not a national power. Like nobody in Oregon is like, man, I can't wait to visit Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. Yeah. But they kind of go to Deuce Night, right? Where he has visits to Mississippi State, and I forget the other school coming up. Mississippi State and South Carolina. He's already been to Notre Dame and Tennessee.
Damn, those are good schools right there.
You know,
but Tennessee right now, they're not gonna have availability for a minute. So I could just X them out right now.
I think Notre Dame, honestly, I think Notre Dame is in first place for the kid right now.
We should be.
And he said that he's going to make a decision before the start of his June season. He's committed.
He should. He should also do that. That's a good decision. But I mean, come on. I think Notre Dame is still open for a franchise guy to come in, even though we got some good talent. It's more open than Alabama is. It's more open than Clemson. It's more open than. Well, I think Ohio State's pretty open, but in terms of like opportunity, man, we could splash with something.
Well, Ohio State lost theirs, right? Because Dylan Raiola once
Ohio State is wide open. They looking for a QB for QB for hire over there for sure. I mean, yeah, they got confidence, Kyle McCord, but he's not C.J. Stroud, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins, Braxton Miller. Like these are home run. Ohio State just had a run. Let's just talk about it.
Facts.
That's a run. Like, come on, you got. So that's a huge gap to replace for anybody.
Yeah.
But maybe Kyle can, be the Joe Burrow of Ohio State.
Missouri.
They're probably all over the place, huh?
You know what? Shockingly, you're on to something, Left.
See?
In-state, average about 5 or 6.
But they got good high school football players. Yeah. We got them. We got all their best St. Louis.
They're stupid. Dude, Texas is
heavy.
And then third is like a tie between 4 states.
Yeah, because they're getting the scraps from the SEC teams that getting like the high, like for real. If you had to think of that's why I knew it was all over the place. Because in state, we're getting them, or
Yeah,
they're going to Alabama, or they're going to Missouri doesn't have a sticking point in their recruiting for real, in my opinion. Like our offensive coordinator went there, so he was telling me about it. It's kind of like a transfer kid's heaven. They're not going to develop 4-year talent necessarily to be great, but
yeah.
they can have a good team with a bunch of transfers like a Tennessee, because their coaching is all over the place.
Ole Miss. Now they are the direct opposite of Mississippi State, which Mississippi State is all about in-state kids. Ole Miss, they bring in an average of 4 kids
Ole Miss
in
is a
state.
national recruiting program. They just got a quarterback from Arizona committed, Desmond Williams. So it's like they're a national program because they're their coach.
Alabama and Georgia, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Alabama and Georgia.
Ole Miss is like the one. Like remember when they had 2013, the Dominican Sue, Laquan Treadwell. I'm like, oh, they're trying to go. They're trying to go for the goal. They're not looking to
Yeah,
be just SEC
yeah,
champions.
yeah. They sent the bag up here. I'll leave it at that.
They had to. You're like,
Yeah.
Laquan, you're going to go to Mississippi,
That's the
really?
only way Laquan didn't end up in Notre Dame.
It had to be. It had to
Because you
be.
remember Niles
Niles goes to his school, and
was
he
on the same squad. No, they won the same
yes,
state championship squad.
yes.
And they got Niles. And the only reason Laquan didn't end up going with Niles is that bag was real.
It had to be. Because who's going to Mississippi from Chicago as a top? Come on.
Hey, hold on now. It's a lot of people from Mississippi with Mississippi roots. I'll be in Mississippi later this month, bro, with my
I'm
dad.
saying for an athlete's perspective, is any basketball player
Was
or
I not an athlete, bro?
no, I'm
What you
saying
trying to
like
say?
Laquan Treadwell, let's just be specific.
I'm sure he has roots in Mississippi. I'm
But
pretty
he's
sure.
not, you think he's thinking of those roots in the recruitment, or he thinking
Not after that paper bag showed up.
I know it. So if it wasn't for the paper bag, he not
Oh
thinking,
no,
oh,
no,
Miss. That's what I'm
no,
saying. Like,
no, no. Yeah, that's the only thing that got Ole Miss on the top 5.
that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
Oh
he
yeah,
might have some family members
yeah.
and if you trace it back, but come on, he ain't going to Ole Miss. Come
Absolutely.
on.
Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks, who we just smacked up in the Gator Bowl. They average about 7 kids.
They have a strong in-state because of Clemson. They
Yeah,
have a strong
yeah,
in-state, love for the school. Like,
yeah, yeah.
so I can
But
imagine.
and they go. Georgia's literally what the border's like an hour to an hour and a half away.
But that's why South Carolina is sneakily really talented. If they just figure it out, they could be a top SEC team every year.
Hmm. Tennessee. Shockingly, I thought Tennessee would really dominate the talent in Tennessee. There's some pretty good competition in high school football in Tennessee.
There's a lot of charter schools.
Yeah, dude, but they have like years of 2, another year of 2, another year of 5. They only have 1 year of double digits. That was in 2020. If I'm not mistaken, that was like the COVID year. So you really couldn't go out and recruit. It's pretty much Tennessee and the state of Georgia. That's it. They load up in Georgia every year.
Listen, Georgia got enough for it.
Dude, how many talented football players are in the state of Georgia, bro? This is bananas.
Well, you got to think
If it's not the number
nowadays,
one school, number one state for somebody, it's the number 2 state for just about every SEC school.
but nowadays, the culture of football has grown in Georgia, and you got kids that move to Georgia to play football now.
Got you.
So
Got you.
just that's why modern day in Bosco and these schools out here is only there's all these schools in California, but it's 3 that has all the talent. And people be from all over the world, it feel like, you know. So now everything's about chartered football, private, like basketball.
Hey, I can tell you now, it's a full generation from the city of Chicago that lives in Atlanta right now. I can
Oh,
tell you for a fact. I can tell you that for a fact. There's at least 3 mil.
Easily.
Over the last decade, at least 3 million people have left Chicago to go to Atlanta.
Easily. Because Chicago expensive right now.
Yeah. Especially
Chicago,
from a tax standpoint, the whole state is ridiculous.
Think about over here. You can't even make over what is it like 100,000 without being taxed something crazy, 60% or something wild.
60.
You can't be if you make over what is it like 200,000 or something. They're gonna hit you heavy. So it's like, dang, I don't even want to be rich out here.
And of course, you would expect Texas A&M double digits in the state of Texas every year with their classes. And it's really between Florida and Georgia on a small scale. Vanderbilt,
they get whatever they can. Huh?
They get whatever they can. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, they go get players wherever they can. Right? So that's where the top talent goes in the SEC geographically. So once again, Notre Dame does not have a local state factory that can give talent to Notre Dame on an annual basis. Right? The state of Indiana is not about to give Notre Dame 10 high-level players.
But technically, where we're located, we can get a couple from Chicago.
See now, this is where I'm about to tell you that Brian Kelly and the former staff dropped the ball because they got so enamored with Ohio. They got so enamored with Pennsylvania.
Wow! Wait! Pennsylvania got some players now.
They got so enamored with Canada.
Yeah. We had got passports.
That they forgot every time they win a national championship what city has led the way historically.
Oh.
Notre Dame ain't winning a darn thing without Chicago if we can keep it in. If we just look at the Letterman and the rosters of the championship teams, we gonna keep it a buck right now. You know what I mean? You can fall in love with Ohio. You go ahead and fall in love with all these other states if you want to. Fall in love with California. Facts are facts.
Oh man. Okay. So
that's all I'm saying. Bro, I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Though, what positions were coming from Chicago that were winning these championships? Was it we was getting the receivers? We get the linemen from Chicago, Alex Bars, Sam Mustipher. You know what I mean?
Mustipher was from Maryland, man.
Oh,
come on, don't do that to us, dude.
I be thinking because he played for Chicago.
Sorry. See, there you go. That's DMV.
So we are waiting. I mean, we're getting Justin Scott. We trying to pull that off.
He shouldn't be the only one that you get from Chicago this year. And first of all, you got Cam Williams already in the fold.
Yeah,
from Chicago.
That's right.
Right? 24. Justin Scott, 24. So, you should be getting Marquise Lightfoot.
So where should 24. Chicago be?
I'm just saying. It's about if you're not getting 4 players from Chicago every year, something's wrong.
Okay, so 4. Okay, so
that's all I'm saying.
For Notre Dame, we get that though. We get 4 every year.
But I'm saying Brian Kelly didn't give a darn about Chicago. Best player he got for Chicago was Tommy Reese.
Oh, don't say that.
Who?
DeVaris.
Did DeVaris have a better career than Tommy?
No, Tommy. Okay, but that's true. But DeVaris was a better player.
I would agree with that.
But obviously, I mean, Tommy had a good career. Like, okay. We had some shit. You got me thinking Chicago. Niles had a pretty good. He was a better player. He didn't
Niles
get.
Morgan was definitely a better player than
Yeah. Okay.
I'll give you that.
We have when's the last? Oh, Miles Boykin, first rounder or was it fourth rounder? He was a tight end in high school, and then he was Notre Dame's #1 receiver in 2018. Remember one-handed catch against LSU? That come on, y'all, we can get Chicago now.
Yo, bro. You know, Coach Vic, that's something to think about. I don't know if I count Barrington as Chicago. Let me think about that. That might be more Wisconsin than anything, bro.
Here we go.
I give slack to a lot of these suburban schools. I do. I give slack to the western suburbs because they do sit like right on the edge of like midway. And
Does it go as far as Vernon Hills?
I usually go as far as Vernon Hills is right there next to O'Hare. As long as if you once you go past the airport, bro.
Okay, so
if you're further north than the airport, you pretty much Wisconsin.
You in Gary and you're in Milwaukee.
You're in Milwaukee. If you go further north than O'Hare Airport, I don't even know if
you're a Milwaukee Buck now. You can't. The toll stays the same. The only thing that changes is the potholes. The potholes are crazy in Milwaukee, but other than that, you wouldn't know the difference.
Look, this is funny. Josh Buffalo said we got 3 4-stars and 2 3-stars under Kelly from Chicago. That's it? 5? In a span. How long was he here left?
10 years. 10 years.
10 years. You got 5 dudes from Chicago.
We've had more. Okay, you got to think of all the.
I know Robert, the running back. He didn't recruit. I think Weiss recruited Robert. What's his name, man? Hughes, Robert Hughes, the big running back.
Oh, Ben Skoranek. He's from Chicago, isn't he?
I gotta see. Let me see what Ben is from, dog. Ben went to Northwestern first, so I gotta check. I gotta check to see. I don't know. Let me check the map.
Chicago's finest now.
Let me check the map on Ben.
He is Chicago's Super Bowl champion.
That Super Bowl don't mean a darn thing to me, bro. No, see, Ben Skoranek is from Fort Wayne, Indiana, bro.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Always trying to throw somebody on Chicago, bro. Always.
The way he reps it, I couldn't tell the difference. He was repping Chicago heavy. So
come on, man. Lucky Lefty podcast. But no, seriously. Notre Dame has to prioritize Chicago. 2023, in my opinion, there are 3 kids that they should get from Chicago that are good enough to make an impact at Notre Dame. In the class of 24, class of 2025, there's at least 5 kids. 5. Minimum 5 kids from Chicago should go to Notre Dame in 2025.
Are they 5 stars or what?
Minimum.
Are they 4 stars? Are they 5 stars?
They dogs.
Oh, they
minimum 5.
Okay.
Minimum 5. But see, this is what's gonna happen. See, this is why I'm happy. Is Notre Dame can stay in love with Ohio. I don't mind. I don't mind because we're gonna give Ohio some love in a few minutes. LL Nation, we're gonna show Ohio some love in a few minutes.
We got Jabron Payne.
You don't understand that the head coach is from Ohio, so he's a little biased. He's a little biased. That's cool. He's a little biased. I don't mind that. I understand that. If I was the head coach, the head coach of Notre Dame, you best guarantee it'll be about 6, 7 dudes from Chicago every year on the squad. So I understand. I'm not going to be shady.
What if Marcus Freeman knows something that you don't? Maybe he knows there's a certain place in Ohio.
I promise. Oh, I thought you were about to say about Chicago. I promise you.
See, you got
Marcus Freeman is a wise dude and very intelligent, but he does not know more about Chicago than me. That's one thing I'm pretty sure of.
Nah, he was leaning on Tommy now. Tommy was supposed to be the knockout Chicago guy.
Once again, Tommy was part of the 10 years of 5 kids from Chicago. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
That's Mr. Chicago. You know, he played from there, you know.
First of all, that dude is not Mr. Chicago. Mr. Chicago for who? Or to who?
He says he reps Chicago.
Oh, I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about yourself. He's more than welcome to do that. He's more than welcome to do that. I don't mind them going and getting the best talent from St. Louis.
Yes.
We understand the situation. Indiana is not a gold mine when it comes to high school football. We understand it. Every now and then you'll get a Jalen Smith.
The Drake Bowen. You're going to get you a linebacker.
Yeah. They'll give you linebackers. You know, they missed out on a kid. They missed out on a kid in the 23 class out of Maryville. He's a D tackle up in Michigan right now.
Oh, wait a minute.
They missed out on him.
Cole Kmet from Chicago, isn't he?
Yeah, he went to St. Viator. He went to St. Viator.
Yeah.
St. Viator is on the it's in the borders. It's in the borders.
Julian Love. Look, we get Chicago now. Look.
Once again, 5 and 10 years. You naming the 5, dude. Like you're about to name the 5. I mean, that's all you're doing.
I named more than
matter of fact, you're making my point stronger. So basically, you just named NFL talent.
Wait,
from Chicago.
Kerry Neal, Chicago.
You said who? Kerry
Neal, the linebacker.
Kerry wasn't from Chicago, bro.
Kerry, isn't he from?
Come on, bro. Come on.
He lives in Chicago now. You would have.
He lives. Everybody wants to live here, bro. That cat was from Burns, North Carolina. See, there you go. There you go. There you go. Come on, man. There you go. There you go. Dude, we know Notre Dame players love to come here and live here. Tony Rice, Kerry Neal, all the Notre Dame players want to come here and live here. You better recruit here if you want to win. That's all I'm saying.
Brian Kelly recruited a bunch of the walk-ons that were from Chicago and like the filler players. Like guys.
That's what I'm saying. He was disrespectful. That's mad disrespectful. That's mad disrespectful. That showed you how lazy he was. He didn't have to do anything, dude. He could have taken the Uber. Dude, I've checked. The Uber to South Bend is like $35.
Damn. Yeah, that's not bad.
No. It's 35. That dude could have called an Uber up here for $35, expensed it, recruited. Man, look. So yeah, it needs to be 4 or 5 from Chicago, 3 or 4 from St. Louis, 4 or 5 from Ohio.
But remember,
go ahead and hit Texas.
Wait a minute, but remember the situation Brian Kelly got comfortable in was, look, there's nothing I could do here. He settled with the narrative. So maybe there was Chicago guys that he wanted to get, but he done gave up in year 5. Because he knew what he was dealing with. We talked about that.
Look, man. I'm going to leave it at this. Keep playing stupid if you want to. That cat Brett Bielema is about to have a squad. He's about to have a squad of champagne if Notre Dame keeps sleeping. I can tell you that. Keep sleeping. Keep sleeping. And watch how quick Illinois gets good.
They're going to get good because he made Wisconsin a powerhouse when they were rolling.
They already got a wide receiver that wasn't good enough for Notre Dame.
Oh, from IMG?
Dude just happens to be the number 1 wide receiver in the state of Illinois. You know, he wasn't a Tate. Okay. All right.
But Tate was number 1 receiver in the country or something like that, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, but you know, he didn't play high school football in Illinois.
Oh, yeah, he was at IMG.
You know, he was at IMG. But shout out to our boy. I talked to him. Shout out to Carnell, man.
He should be playing in the next.
He's according to reports, he's doing his thing.
Yeah,
he's doing his thing. So
I just hope he gets the targets.
I didn't talk to him. I was texting with him. But yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah, I think he's gonna.
So it was like St. Louis, Ohio, and Chicago. That's your base, bro. That's your base.
You wouldn't say Michigan? Because we get a lot of Michigan
They
guys.
get quarterbacks from Michigan, dude.
Well, we got for a stretch, we had a lot of defensive
They did go get Michigan over the last two. All right, I'll throw Michigan in there. I don't like Michigan for multiple reasons. I'm an Illinois grad and a Notre Dame fan. Come on, it's hard for me to like the state of
Man,
Michigan.
there's some nice players up there that we grab here and there. You know,
I agree with that. I agree with that. So let's see. They need Texas, Michigan, not Texas. Texas is not your big.
we only get like 2 or 3 people.
No. Ohio, St. Louis, Chicago, Michigan. Okay.
And then we sprinkle our Florida in there. We'll get a handful of Florida.
Florida, Texas, California.
And probably
And the DMV. You got to hit up the DMV,
we get the
and
DMV a lot.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we get some good areas.
Yeah.
We're not a big. Well, maybe that'll change. Where we're recruiting out of Georgia all the time.
Yeah.
Or Alabama, that would be nice. Now, if we
Yeah.
added those 2 states, I think we'll really have something. If we drop maybe Pennsylvania, you lose a tight end or a lineman, maybe a linebacker. Pick up a Georgia or Alabama states. I mean, because we'll get kids to go to us before they go to Missouri or Kentucky or something. You know what I mean? I think we can.
Now, I'm about to say something disrespectful. Coach Vic might throw something at the screen when I say this, because he says, instead of St. Louis, just say Missouri, because Jaden Riddell is from Hannibal, and Knapp is from Cape. The lineman they're going after is from KC. I'm a Chicago dude, so I put St. Louis and KC all in the same bag. It's all the same bag. Now that's real disrespectful to people from Missouri. St. Louis and Kansas City are not the same. So Coach Vic is probably throwing something at the screen right now. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. We come back, we'll talk and hear from Chris O'Leary and his safeties, and we'll see if they can ease some of the anxiety about the position going into the off season and into fall camp. Lucky Lefty podcast, we spin it different. All right, Left, we come out and safety, I believe from a defensive standpoint, might have been the biggest question mark behind defensive line. They've been very steady in the practices that we've seen. And Chris O'Leary, safeties coach, he met with the media. And how are things in the second year of the defense under Al Golden, coach?
It's been fun. It's been fun because you can kind of take the next step as far as being in the defense for a second year. Guys that have been out there in big games, you can start coaching on a more detailed level. So that's been enjoyable, and they're really pushing themselves to take that next step. And really for us, this spring's about making plays. And I've seen that in their production, whether it's TFLs, interceptions, PBUs, like that's what we're focused on. And so hopefully that carries over to the season.
What do you think about that? Focused on turnovers?
Making plays.
Yeah.
I think Chris O'Leary really came on the scene being able to have Kyle Hamilton. He was there with Kyle Hamilton, right? That was his first year, right?
Yeah.
And having that impact of Kyle Hamilton making plays, it just made the defense a lot better than probably what it was when Kyle was here.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kyle maybe not covered for a lot of things, but shit, those 8 games he was in there,
yeah,
I thought the defense played at a high level. So
yeah,
did we take a huge drop off when he left? Not, statistically, but you felt that he wasn't there. And I think Chris O'Leary getting back to making plays, we have playmakers. And none of them are just, I think all of our safeties are built more on an athletic base and being athletically gifted and talented than being like a technician that we got from day one that was always a safety. And we got guys that we converted to safety. We got guys that were moving to safety. So not only are they flipping offense to defense, but they're moving from corner to safety. nickel to safety, you know. So I think it gives us a good collection of athletes that we can make plays with. I don't think he's trying to make any of them the next Ed Reed, but shoot, we can make enough plays as a group flying around using your instincts that we're built for than just being like, I'm going to teach you how to take the right angle and come down at the right time. It's like, it's bigger than that. And I think we're ready to take that next step because the secondary is the most gifted, I think, unit of the defense right now overall.
When you include the cornerbacks, I can see that.
Ben Morrison, Cam, Clarence Lewis, Ryan Barnes can, do some things in and out. You got everybody that coming back, and then Xavier Watts. I think he's going to make a huge splash.
Yeah.
Because you know why? He made a noticeable difference in a game that we actually needed, the SC game. If you can make plays in the game that is noticeable, that means you found your spot. That means you found your spot.
Yeah.
You're flash like Jalen Sneed flashing in a game. You found your spot.
Yeah.
And I think it'll figure itself out after that.
He also talked about the newcomers, one being Thomas Harper, the grad transfer from Oklahoma State, and someone that we kind of raved about in our practice report a little bit this weekend. He might be from the state of Ohio. What's up with these newcomers, Coach?
Ben Minich?
I'm going to watch both of them as well because Ben is unbelievably intelligent when it comes to football smarts and knowing what to do. I mean, the stuff that we're doing with the defense right now, the fact that he's able to comprehend it and execute on the field says a lot about him. And he's a really good football player. So I'm excited for his ceiling. We'll just keep growing him and developing him. And then Harper has played a lot of big-time college football, and you can see that. He steps out there. He's out there in 7-on-7 today, and nothing phases him. He's a competitor, and he's been really good for us too.
You know what's so crazy? Is that when you in a dynamic of the the AFC North with the some of the best teams around with the Bengals and the Browns, and then you get Ohio State in the mix, and then you get all the MAC schools.
Bro, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The Bengals and the Browns were trash when you were in high school, dude.
Wait a minute.
Stop. Come on, man. Come on. The bulk of your life, both of those teams have been mad big.
Listen, though.
Huffy.
When you got so much football culture around you with the ups and downs, the stripes, the trials, the tribulations, the action.
Are you claiming the Baltimore Ravens now?
Listen, what you doing? The AFC North, it is what it is. It's not the AFC North is not what it is without Ohio. They would have to call it something else. You couldn't even call it the AFC North because Ohio is the North for the AFC. Take out the Bengals and the Browns. What do you have? Nothing. You got a team that transferred cities, and then you got Pittsburgh. Well, who goes to Pennsylvania?
Well, if you take out the Browns and the Bengals, you pretty much have the other two teams that have actually gone to the Super Bowl and won championships.
You got no history. You got no history.
I thought we were talking winners. My fault. I thought we were talking winners.
Do we have to go over Jimmy Haslam and the Browns organization and the greatness that had came from there?
Do you really want to talk about Jimmy Haslam and the Browns?
Listen. We
really want to have that discussion right now.
We have to talk about the history though, not just the recent.
Bro, I would stand firm on comparing the Bears to Jimmy Haslam and the Browns.
What have the Bears done in the last 20 years?
They've been to a Super Bowl. How about that? How about that?
The Bengals been twice. Oh, Bengals been once. And they went to the what?
You said, wait a minute. You said the last 20 years. Bengals haven't been to the Super Bowl in the last 20 years.
Oh, I'm sorry. They didn't play the Super Bowl against the Rams.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
Without the AFC North and the two teams,
I apologize for that.
there would be no history of football. The AFC North is tough because of the Browns and the Bengals.
Now, if it wasn't for Chicago, there would be no NFL. Let's just keep it a buck. First signature on that charter says George Hallis.
But okay. But in truth,
Facts. You said
The
you
first-
talking history. You
the
talking
first-
history, right?
that's true. Okay, you can get that.
Okay.
That's for the NFL.
Now go ahead on your little, go ahead on your little dialogue about Ohio. Go
True
ahead.
history though.
Uh,
The first professional football team was called the Dayton Triangles.
so what? They didn't have enough money to make it official. Is that what it was? They struggled financially. They couldn't do what Papa Hallis could do. I understand. The pressure got to him. I understand.
Dayton made football professional.
Okay. They were professional without a league, huh? What was the league again? What was the league called?
The first team. I'm telling you.
Oh, they were like the Harlem Globetrotters. They were the traveling professional team. That's what it was.
Listen, I know people don't like hearing the Dayton Triangles. I'm gonna get a jersey. I'm gonna rep it on the Lucky Lefty from true football history.
The
And
charter franchise of the NFL is the Chicago Bears. Bro. I don't want to hear all that other history. On the paperwork of the biggest corporation in sports, the first signature. Thank you. I don't care nothing about that Dayton and post football game played professionally in Ohio. I don't want to hear about all that.
Oh, so it don't matter when we real history. It don't matter.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
That's real.
What matters? What matters? Your stories or the paperwork?
The history.
What holds up? No. If we took this to court, what will hold up? Your stories or the paperwork?
Man, I couldn't have a story without the history. It's real.
Okay, you can keep your stories. We're gonna walk in with that paperwork. That's what we're walking in with. That paperwork and that signature. That's what we're walking up with.
Well, in terms of Ben Minnick,
go ahead. You were talking about Chris O'Leary safeties, I don't know how you about to. I don't know what this is gonna mean with the safeties. You were going down a rabbit hole, but go right ahead.
Marcus Freeman is recruiting Ohio. Maybe not for the most gifted athletically, but if you looking for real football,
let me show you how desperate it is. This man said the paperwork was signed in Ohio. The charter franchise is the Chicago Bears. I don't care if they signed the paperwork in Honolulu. What are we talking about right now, man?
Yeah, listen, nobody likes giving us credit. I understand.
Dude, y'all got the Hall of Fame. Y'all got the NFL Hall of Fame. It's in Canton.
Why would it be in Ohio?
Hey, I don't have a problem with Ohio. All I'm telling you is that paperwork. Now go ahead. Talk about the Notre Dame safeties, man. We have to be. Dude, this is what we do every day. We entertain. That's what we do. We make your lunch go by much faster.
That's right.
Make your hoagie sandwich go down much easier. We make your Coca-Colas taste a little better. That's what we do. Even when we go on tangents. But go ahead. Safeties at Notre Dame. Go ahead, Lef.
What I love about Marcus Freeman is he's getting a nice variety. He's getting guys that have range.
Right.
I think anytime you're recruiting on a national level, you need a range of players.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just have your dominant run box safeties. You got to have a pass coverage guy in there. Got to have a guy that can be your communicator. And I think Ben Minnick has been nominated that so far as a guy that, they gush about how he's just in tune with what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you need some players like that. And those guys tend to show up in the game when you're like, damn, that's a nice rotational player. Mm-hmm. Damn, that's a nice fit for what we're trying to do. Maybe not on another team. Maybe Ben Minnick wouldn't be the Alabama starting safety. But for us and what we're doing, he can have some impact. Chris O'Leary identifying it. And the best thing I love about Marcus Freeman and what the coaching staff is able to do is coach to what they have and make the best out of it. So You know, they wanted Ben minutes. He
Mhm.
came, and they're going to develop him like they want, how they see fit. And I think that's a good strategy to go by.
Yeah, DJ Brown has some comments on your boy Ben Minich.
Ben's a baller. He's already had 3 picks so far. During spring ball. He's real fast. He's really smart. I really like Ben. I think he's going to be a good player.
3 picks, fast, smart. I told you. I told you I was going to show love today.
But Marcus Freeman knew that before he got there. That's what recruiting for.
I would hope so. If he gave him an offer, I would hope so.
But outside,
Ben Minich is one of those that sneaks through the cracks,
right?
Because of who he played next to.
That's also true. He played next to an Ohio State 5-star safety.
And
he's definitely one of those guys that was like, man, I was coming to see a guy, but then this other kid was doing good too. And he was like a 2-star, but I think we found something. You know what I mean? One of those guys, like a Chris Fink type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got the buzz coming from Notre Dame secondary, which I told you guys after watching him in practice on Saturday. I'm like, yo, this kid belongs, man. I thought coming in he would be strictly special teams. And I'm like, man, in a crunch, if he needed to play.
Come on, man. We had Chris Fink.
Look, man.
Ohio produces.
You see the spot you put me in because I love Slippery Fox. Me and Slippery Fox are cool.
I'm just saying.
Me and Slippery Fox are cool.
Ohio athletes aren't like Texas athletes where they have a lot
man.
of potential and then be regular players. Ohio players that you think might not be something.
I'm gonna tell Braylon James. I'm cutting this up for Braylon James and Jane Greathouse. I'm sending it right to them. What you just said. I'm about to send it to Glenn James, Braylon James' dad.
Tell him.
Braylon James. Yeah, okay. I'm sending it right to them.
It's true.
Oh, go ahead and talk your OHIO stuff. Go ahead.
You know what? Texas players, the problem with Texas players is that all Texas players, or most of them, play in the Texas system. So if you don't go to a Texas school and you venture outside of a Texas environment, your ceiling becomes a lot lower. That's the truth.
Let me record this with my phone. Go ahead. Keep talking. Go ahead. I'm gonna make sure I text this right to.
Only few special players that leave Texas from Texas, become superstar players. It's true. You see, Florida's different. Florida can lead a state and be the best player on the team. It's highly unlikely that a Texas player leaving Texas becomes the best player on that team outside the school.
Thank you.
Now in Ohio,
you keep us viral. I love it. I tell you every
Ohio,
week, you keep us viral on Ohio State boards. You keep us viral on Michigan boards. And
I'm just saying.
Boy, you're about to be viral in the Notre Dame locker room.
For instance, Bryce Petty, right? Great at Baylor in a Texas system. Great. Goes to the NFL, you be like, how'd he get drafted? But at Texas, all world. There's all world players that if you stay in Texas, you're going to be all world. But the success rate of Texas players being that dude on a team outside of there, it can go either way. But when you go to Ohio, you know what I'm saying? And you think, oh, these guys are just regular guys, like they're just. But then they get on that field and they belong. You be like, what are they doing in Ohio that's different? Is the football good? Is the coaches? Is the culture? What is it that's making these players great?
Wasn't it a Georgia kid that made Joe Burrow, the Ohio kid, leave?
We don't play the politics because what did you find out? The cream always rises to the top.
Dude, you could
The
have
cream
just said,
always rises to the top. That's all I'm saying.
you could have said yes or no. You could have just said yes or no.
All I'm saying.
Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Oh man, I'll tell you something. Whew. Our guy Xavier Watts was asked about what are his strengths this season.
Be tackling, that's one of being aggressive, that type of aspect of the game. And then obviously something I need to work on is probably more so coverage, working on man-to-man skills, and I say playmaking as well. I think I left a couple plays out last year. I wish I could get back, but working on playmaking.
Hey, that's exactly what I expected him to say. Tackling. Making
That's his
plays.
strength.
Tackling. That's his
Making
strength.
plays.
And he made those plays against SC, and that's how I knew we had something there,
Notre Dame fans have a question for you, all the way from Vegas, bro.
No. We appreciate Texas Town. We had Torrey Hunter Jr., great player. Cam McDaniel, great player. Right? But was Cam McDaniel?
So what you trying to you go ahead. Go ahead. Let me send this to Cam. Go ahead.
At the time we had but Stephon Tuitt was our best player at the time. That's true. He's from Florida.
He was not from Ohio, though.
Huh?
He was not from Ohio.
Wait a minute. Hold on now.
Name the last Ohio player that was the best player on Notre Dame.
Oh, Notre Dame? Hold on. Oh, Deshaun Kaiser. How about that?
Ah, let me go.
That's true though. I'm trying to unless I gotta think about it. Let me think. I gotta think about it. Let me think. Shaun was the second rounder? I mean, that's true. He was a second rounder. I'm trying to think.
Oh man.
Technically, he's a second rounder, and that was the highest draft of 2016. That's the truth.
Deshaun Kaiser was never the best player on Notre Dame's team.
I'm saying from draft standpoint, he was a second round. That was the highest drafted player of 2016. So in that year, technically he was the best player on the team. Because he got drafted in second round, which was higher than who got drafted that year. It was just him, I think. No.
Lucky Lefty, I don't know what is wrong with my co-host today. He is hell bent on promoting the state of Ohio today. Look, Michael Campbell said he just spit his water out laughing.
We just talking analytics. We're just talking analytics.
I'm gonna give you one more opportunity. But that is not the answer.
I'm trying to think, who do we even have from Ohio on the team? I can't even think right now. We've been so focused on the trying to get a quarterback.
Yo, where did that Texas hate come from, bro?
There's no Texas hate. It's the truth. I love Texas. No, Texas always has the big, strong athletes. Think about
Wait a minute. This dude, okay, because I thought you were halfway trolling. It wasn't until your face when you just said it's the truth. Like you said that with conviction. You really believe this.
Texas high school football is 100% worthy of being the top, 3 high school football states in the country. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Individually, Texas players that are used to playing in the Texas system, because look at all the Texas systems are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Run and shoot, Big 12 football is not great football.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that.
Mm-hmm.
We went over who recruits from where the most, right? And a lot of these states that have teams that are middle of the road in their conference recruit from Texas. And players that leave Texas to go to these schools aren't giving you what the in-state kids from Texas are giving you. Texas in-state kids is the reason why Texas is going to be great this year.
Okay.
In-state.
Okay.
TCU was great. What's the percentage of TCU players this year that was from Texas? It's probably a huge percent. Because it's from Texas. Yes, it's a Texas system. But Max Duggan in another system? Come on, man. What are we talking about here?
What, dude? What are you talking about? Heck, that's like we saw Jack Cone in another system be successful.
Jack
Of
Holmes,
course, systems matter. Doesn't matter what.
right, as the system for Max Duggan, the Texas style of system worked for him. Yes, I agree with that. But Max Duggan in another system, they're not getting to the college football playoffs.
Bro, just so you know, there is no one near being the best player from the state of Ohio on the 2023 Notre Dame football team.
What the way you
I
talking about
just-
Ben
I
Minich?
just want- I just-
Sleeper.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. The best player on Notre Dame's team is from Minnesota. And then the second best player on Notre Dame's team is from Arizona. That's it.
Minnesota.
Case closed.
Who's from Minnesota?
Say what?
Who's from Minnesota?
Joe Alt.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I can agree with that. What state has the best skill position right now?
See, now you're trying to switch the goalpost.
Well, I mean, Joe.
You're the one to start the argument about the best player on the team when they go there. That's what you started.
He's not from Texas. Yes.
Okay. So the best players on Notre Dame's team are from Phoenix and Findlay, Minnesota this year.
This year.
Yes, it won't be anybody from Ohio. Sorry.
You don't know that.
And next year, it'll probably be a kid that's from South Carolina.
Football is a religion in Texas. I'm not denying that there's good football in Texas. I'm just saying.
Do you want to apologize right now for the Texas talk?
I'm not saying nothing wrong about Texas. Texas is a great state.
That was an extreme hot take, bro.
Oh my goodness.
That was an extreme. It was extreme. And I'm your boy. I'm telling you that was extreme.
How is that extreme? What was wrong about it? Texas football is great in recruiting every year.
Bro.
They are.
That was an extreme hot take, bro. You basically said Texas football players cannot succeed outside the state of Texas in college football. That's what you said.
I think Texas players succeed more in state.
Well, unfortunately, that's not the extent of what you said. You said a little bit more.
That was what it was relating to, though. They're way more successful in state than out of state.
First of all, Texas is not Brian Van Gorder's burner. I don't know if he's trolling. He said Texas is the second best football state, only behind Ohio, of course.
We're top five. I wouldn't say we're number one. We're top five.
Dude. Georgia is.
Georgia's number one for sure. Georgia, Florida. I wouldn't even say Cali that much, only because Cali is really sucked into like 3 or 4 schools that are way better than everybody else. So
Dude.
I would say we'll rival Cali, but it would go Georgia, Florida, Texas, Alabama, and then us. I think we're top 5.
Will Fuller, John Massey, thanks for tapping in. This is on the same team with Deshaun. Yeah, Will Fuller, Jalen Smith, McGlinchey, Ronnie, and Tranquil. You talking about Deshaun Kaiser was the man? You are. I can't believe.
I said 2016. Will was gone.
It doesn't matter which year you say.
We were saying 1 year. We were saying 1 year basis because he was drafted the highest that year. That's always what I said.
You didn't even think Deshaun was the best quarterback. So I know you capping right now.
We're saying from getting drafted. What other can we compare it to?
On the 2016 team, was Deshaun Kaiser the best quarterback on the roster?
No, but
okay then. That's it. Case closed. There's nothing else to say.
I would never deny a man's accomplishments. That's all I'm saying. The man got drafted. That technically if we had to.
The man went 4-8 at Notre Dame as a quarterback, bro.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And Mike McGlinchey was on that team, by the way.
He went to
And Quentin Nelson was on that team. So you're still bugging.
Quentin didn't get drafted the same year as Shaun. Quentin got drafted the year after.
But he was on the team.
I'm just saying from a year-to-year basis.
Oh man. I'll let you keep falling off that cliff. I keep trying to put my hand out to lift you back up, but you don't want any help.
Quentin, Q definitely was. Man, I already told you the best player I ever played was Jalen Smith. I will always say that was best player. But Q was definitely the next best player. It would go Jalen, then Q, and then probably Will or something,
Hey, Ramon Henderson, what's up? What makes you good? What makes you popping this year?
Thinking. I feel like beforehand, or just last year or the year before that, I thought a lot, which made me slow down a lot of times. I say more so now, I know what to expect. It's not thinking like a defensive player, it's thinking like a QB. So you see like people line up and you just know where the ball's going to, you know where it has to go to, or you just see what he's thinking when he's looking at you, if that makes sense. If I'm in the post and he's purely staring at me, like I know I'm in his head as much as he is in mine. So I feel like that helps me a lot.
That's some interesting comments, bro. Pre-snap thinking makes him different this year.
Yes, it definitely comes with a comfortability of, like he said, when you see something over and over again and you've been watching film and you've taken the reps and you made the mistakes of previous times, you do get a sense of, okay, I know that they can only do this thing out of this formation or this look. Let me be on high alert. Now, they may not. There's always a chance they may not, but you want to be able to stay on that curve of knowing. And I think any player that gets the chance and opportunity to get enough reps, you start to get that common cliche of the game is slowing down. And I think that's where the pre-snap and what he means is the game slowing down for him, that when the ball snaps, he's not overwhelmed. And it happens a lot for younger players. Everything that they see in the film room, it's like, okay, I think I get it. But it happens so fast that it becomes overwhelming if you don't have enough reps and experience at it. So for a guy like that to see the benefit of what is changing for him and having those reps, and it's good to see that he's getting it, because some guys have a hard time getting it even with experience. So you can see he's making the right strides, and it goes back to great recruiting. You're getting kids that are teachable. And that's hard these days, getting recruits that are teachable and can develop as well.
Being in that second year of the defense is a benefit for these guys. It seems like there was a lot of opportunity for missed assignments and miscommunication last year, being in the first year offense under Al Golden. The guys feel a lot more comfortable from front to back. They talk about that. And DJ Brown said it himself. He's like, man, look, I've had 3 defensive coordinators in the last 4 years. As we end this, was it a mistake for Marcus Freeman not to still have his defense being run at Notre Dame? I don't care who the defensive coordinator is.
Again, was a mistake
at Alabama. Nick Saban's defense is being run at Alabama. I don't care who the DC is.
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman gave Al Golden full autonomy to run his defense after Marcus Freeman's defense had been successful at Notre Dame.
Right.
Was that a mistake on Marcus Freeman's part?
Man, I think of it as, you're given a Ferrari, but it's in your name. You making the payments every month, but you let somebody else drive it all the time. It just wouldn't make me feel easy, because I don't know if you might get a nick because it's responsible for me. So if something happens when you doing something, it's gonna fall on me. And I think that's the same in this situation. Yeah, he may be a great driver of a Ferrari. He probably got some on his own. But this one's my Ferrari. So if you nick it up, yeah, you're gonna feel bad, but I'm gonna feel worse. So I think it's a situation of is it a mistake? Man, maybe not if he feels that comfortable. But then again, in the bigger perspective, if something don't go right, you're taking the blame for it. And nobody likes taking the blame when you can't feel like you're controlling the situation either. So for mental ease, I think Marcus Freeman shouldn't give up his full autonomy at any point. You know what I mean? I think it should be a collaborative effort, especially if he's the football defensive coach and he has success and he knows who he has and he's recruiting guys coming in. So if you're recruiting guys coming in, you know what you got on the team, you were successful with what you ran when you were running it, giving up the whole autonomy of doing it, it may be a good decision in the short term, but not the long term. Because all because of who's going to take the blame if it don't work out. And I think that's what you always have to think about in this day and age, because, you know, college football is on that carousel. You can be there today and be gone tomorrow. You know?
See, I just go back to the BS that was created with multiple head coaches, certain hirings and things that were taking place. There was not a feeling of total autonomy given to a new head coach. And that was unfortunate. I'm not sure how the entire Al Golden situation went down. But I'm just, man, you know, if I'm the head coach and I'm a defensive guy, we're running my defense. That's what it is.
Right? I mean, if you the head coach, come on, man. Come on. You are the head coach. You tell what other people should be doing, you know. And I just think giving up that control it's no different than having an offensive head coach. That's what you did last year. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't go as best as it didn't go as best as it could have because you didn't get a chance to have your influence to even, you know, have a chance to make it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the next year you talk about what you want from a team philosophy perspective and what you're looking for in the hiring process. And then you come back and say, well, I couldn't get what I wanted, but this is going to work for the team. It may not be what I'm trying to run, but it's what we can do. And then defensively, you give up the defense too.
Yeah.
It's like, dang, you just you're giving every side up. So I'm sure it'll be frustrating with him eventually. But we got a lot of things that can fill the hole in the meantime in terms of great players and great recruits.
And I think people, look, let me tell you something. Al Golden has no intention of being at Notre Dame for the long term.
No, he's an NFL coach.
So that means when he leaves this organization and these young men have to once again learn and do defense.
All over again.
If it had been Marcus Freeman's defense from the jump, we wouldn't have this problem. That's the issue.
We're looking like we would look like our offense now. We kept the same stuff. We're just
absolutely
tweaking it here and there.
Tweaking it here and there because it's the Notre Dame offense.
It's the same.
That's it. This is the Notre Dame offense. This is how Notre Dame's offense is going to be for the next 8 to 10 years. As soon as Al Golden gets his opportunity to go to the next level, he's gone. And when he leaves, you have to bring in another defensive-minded coach with another philosophy and another defense. The players have been under Al Golden. Now they have to learn a totally different defense.
And that's what Brian Kelly never lost. Hold on, what's it? Brian Kelly never lost his offense through all those years.
No.
Through all those years, he kept the same offense. Maybe, you know, Sanford came in, LaFleur came in, Tommy came in, Denbrock was in there, Coach Mark, but he always ran the same Coach Kelly stuff. That's what made it good and bad, because it'd be like, we'll be on a whole variation
Yeah.
after all the years compiled up, and then he'll come in there and be like, let's run it like I did at Grand Valley.
Right.
You run it like you did at Grand Valley, you know what I mean? So I think that's what kept him around.
And like Lima Fiesta Bowl. He didn't call the Fiesta Bowl. Mike Elston did.
Yeah. Remember? We had a problem with
Mike
that.
Elston, total autonomy
That's
to
what-
call the Fiesta Bowl, sort of as an interview for the DC job, and he failed miserably. So, look, we can stop. What we're not about to do is I can point out games, like we can point out that USC game with Al Golden. It's a couple of, we can point to that Marshall game. You want me to point out some horrible defensive performances for a defensive coordinator? We can do that for everybody in Notre Dame history.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Elko had a pretty good run. That was
Except for Elko.
Yeah,
We can do that. So we're not about to sit up here and act like the Notre Dame defense under Marcus Freeman was trash.
No,
we want to pick out one or two games. Man, miss me with that.
Defensive coordinators for sure.
You know what he did immediately? He improved the defensive recruiting immediately as a defensive coordinator. What doesn't Al Golden do? Recruit.
No. I don't think he really.
That's, in my opinion, Marcus Freeman should have kept his defense. Period. Because it's continuity. That's one. You never have to worry about what defense you're playing at Alabama. Ever. It doesn't matter who the coach is. Doesn't matter. You go to Georgia, you don't have to worry about who's the defensive coordinator.
Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart.
That's it.
Kirby Smart. So it's a reason why they have continuity in defense for close to a decade, because it's their head coach's defense, even though they're the head coach.
That's like if you have a sleepover and your homeboy bring his PlayStation over. Guess what? When the sleepover's over, he gonna take his game with him.
Wait a minute. First of all, let me stop this. Marcus Freeman, in the presser days before the Fiesta Bowl, said out of his mouth that Coach Elston will be calling the plays.
Yes.
Stop it, man. I hate when people try to call stuff speculation when it's been spoken out of somebody's mouth. Stop. You don't have to protect Coach Elston. He's a grown man. He got a job up in Michigan.
We knew that.
He failed miserably at the Fiesta Bowl in the second half.
And then
he failed.
Yeah.
He failed. It's okay. That's what happens to coordinators. They fail. I can go pick 2 or 3 games from every coordinator where they fail on an annual basis. The point remains. Most head coaches do not allow a defensive coordinator to come in and have total autonomy, especially when you know they don't want to be there for the long term. And now your kids have to learn. DJ Brown just said, I've had 3 different defensive coordinators in 4 years. And all the players are saying we feel better about our defense this year because it's our second year in the defense.
Doing the same thing.
So when Al Golden leaves Notre Dame,
which is
to an 11-2, to an 11-1, 10-2 season, and he bounces to the NFL,
as we know that's what he's going to do.
Now these kids have Drake Bowen, who's a freshman, who's coming in learning this defense, is now going to have to learn a brand new defense next year. Why? Because it wasn't the continuity of Marcus Freeman's defense. That's it. That's it.
Marcus Freeman's got to find a whole new defensive.
That's it. It seems like people are sensitive. Like I said, Al Golden sucks because Marcus Freeman gave him total autonomy. The question is, was it a mistake? Was it a mistake to give a coordinator who's here for the short term total autonomy? That's it. That's all. That's it. This was not berating Al Golden as if, he sucks. No, we're looking at what other defensive head coaches do. They don't give total autonomy to coordinators. That was all we're saying. That's it. If he was an offensive coach, I fully understand giving total autonomy to the defensive coordinator. But most of the time, head coaches that have a defensive background have their system in place and allow the coordinators to coach from within their system.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. That's why I asked, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. But yo, for me, because of the young men, and specifically because of what DJ Brown said, what stood out to me when he said, I've had 3 defensive coordinators in the last 4 years, and I've had to learn a lot, unlearn a lot, and transition. That's, and now, heck, Al Golden, it's no secret that Al Golden wanted to move to the NFL this year.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, this is no
There's no
secret.
secret.
Oh no.
So if he had done it this year, Notre Dame players would have had to learn a brand new defense with a new coordinator. For me, that's just not fair to the players. That's it.
But yeah, that's why you get things like the transfer portal, because Al Golden can leave at any time, and it's even like you said, he's going to leave regardless. And if we're good, it might speed up the process. So Marcus Freeman is like, I think if it's just hard to be in a position where it feels as though he's trying to appease his staff, being a new head coach, trying to make sure everybody's on the same page. That sometimes if you're hired to be the dude, you got to go in there and run it like the dude and be like, look, I want it this way.
But it's the same offensively, right? Left. If you become, or when you become, because I'm sure it's in the near future, when you get your first head coaching job, who's calling plays? Left?
Yeah, but it's no question. And I think he's like trying to be too Obama with it. You can't take everybody with you and do everything. And make
well, that's Apple. You know what? I didn't really make an apples to apples comparison there. I apologize for failing. When you get your head coaching job, the offensive coordinator is going to be coaching whose offense?
Mine. It's going to be in tandem.
There
but
you go.
I would just think that, even with, but it's the same thing with Gerard Parker. When is going to be your offense that you put your stamp on? Because Tommy's stuff isn't going to last forever.
But didn't Tyler Buckner tell us yesterday pretty much what the offense is going to be? Like, if you really listen to him?
Yeah. He said,
like, just listen to him when he talked about how comfortable he was. Listen to Tyler Buckner for a second.
Part of your game are you most pleased with at this point in the spring?
Probably decision making. I think I did a pretty decent job of making good decisions, trying to keep the ball out of harm's way, prevent turnovers. Yeah, I think that's been good so far.
And then just the differences in Tommy's offense versus Jared's. I guess obviously it's still similar, but I guess how would you kind of adjust to some of the changes in that?
Yeah, roots and bolts are still the same, formations, motions. So I didn't have to do any real Quizlets, note cards, study guide, things like that to learn the formation and motions. But they've added some good nuggets, some good new plays, some good concepts, some things like that really help this offense. It's going to be good plays for us. And also slim down some things that, were a little extra weight or things we didn't use all the time. So just keep things linear and, keep it all compact and easy for us to go out there and operate.
And then you saw the offensive line grow last year. I guess, have they taken a step forward this spring so far?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys were here for practice. Yeah, we hit a big run, like first play team. They got counted, looked awesome. So those guys work their tails off every single day. They work unbelievably hard, and it shows on the field.
Yo, he said, look, I didn't have to write down any notes. It's the same motion, formations, right? We added some nuggets. We did some things that maybe we didn't do a lot of, but everything's linear.
Right, because that's Tommy is technically Tyler's guy. But Gino Gaduli is like, I'm trying to learn from day one. I'm gonna be here longer. And that's, I think Kenny Minchie is where Gerard Parker needs to be having. What does he want to do to make Kenny succeed off of his skill set? I don't believe Kenny Pickett and Sam Hartman's offensive skill set are the same. And so, yeah, Gerard Parker, it works right now because you got guys that you was with from a previous regime.
Right.
But that previous regime and what was in place is going to fade away because the longer you get away from that, Tyler's not going to be there forever helping guys learn what you were doing before.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kenny Pickett is going to get to year 2 or 3 and be like, okay, what's built for me? I know what was for Tyler Buckner and Tommy when they were here, but what are you transitioning to address my strengths and weaknesses, which I think he has that are different. You know, I think CJ Carr is different if he continues to stay. I think if we get Deuce Wright or Deuce Knight, he's different.
Yeah.
So I think Gerard Parker should update the Windows system.
I think even offensively, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because Todd Monken just went to the Ravens, right?
Right.
He left Georgia. He went to the NFL. Man, that cat Todd Monken did not want any parts of these new quarterbacks. He didn't want no parts. He wanted no parts of these new quarterbacks in Georgia. I'm not mad at him.
He's looking at it like, man, I'm dealing with who and what and when.
He probably thought he was getting Lamar, though. That's probably he was like, oh, I'm going to Lamar? Oh, yeah, I'll take that. But no, even with Kirby and Nick Saban being defensive-minded guys, I would venture to say Lane Kiffin laid the groundwork for all future offensive coordinators at Alabama. Because he went from Lane Kiffin to Steve Sarkisian. If you're going to be an OC at Alabama, you have to fit into what Lane Kiffin laid, right? Because that's
just transition from AJ McCarron to
absolutely
to
Tua, Jalen Hurts, and all the different quarterbacks. Yeah, Bryce Young, absolutely. Like he transitioned offensively. That was the framework, and you can come in and add little nuggets, but this is the framework of what we want to do offensively. So even offensively, Marcus Freeman can have a say-so on what the framework of the offense is going to be at Notre Dame. Now, you can add motions and all of that stuff and nuggets. That's fine, especially based upon the quarterback or the talent of the quarterback. But at the end of the day, man, you're the head coach. The continuity for the team is on you. That rests upon you, right? And I fully believe that great head coaches in college football expect to lose coaches.
Yes.
They don't coach thinking coaches are going to be around for 5 years. Nick Saban expects to lose. Nick Saban expects Tommy Rees to get a head coaching job.
Yes.
At some point off of Alabama or to go to the NFL. He expects that. He doesn't expect Tommy
told him he want to go to NFL.
Absolutely. He doesn't expect Tommy to be there for the next 5 years.
But Saban also rotates his guys too. He ain't just Tommy is a new one.
Right.
But usually he's recycling the Bill O'Briens, Lane to come back for a year. Somebody under that coaching tree is going to cycle back.
Absolutely.
Which is cool because they still using your system.
Because using this is the system that he transitioned to that he's like, okay,
yeah,
that's what we want to do. Can you work within that framework?
Right.
You could call plays.
Yeah,
I just need to know.
Go down there and run his own stuff at Nick Saban's.
No, man. Nick wasn't even on campus.
Tommy had more freedom at Notre Dame and left to go run in another system. Like, he was the head coach of offense. I've never heard of that before.
Oh, facts.
So Tommy knew what he was getting into. But
Tommy knows this is the fastest path to where he wants to go.
NFL, offensive, or whatever, whatever you
absolutely. And that's all. That was the purpose of the question. Was it a mistake? Because it's about continuity, man. Head coaches, CEOs of college programs, no matter what side of the ball they are an expert in, offensively or defensively, the continuity of the program is their responsibility. Flat out, it's their responsibility, and it's up to them, you know? And I just thought it was weird that a coordinator, I understood why, because I don't think personally, this is me. I don't think Marcus Freeman was made to feel like he had total autonomy.
Oh yeah, from day one. From day one.
So maybe certain decisions that he would have made if he felt that way would have gone differently. But now here it is, you know. And as he stays, I think he shall get to that point, or will get to that point. Well, you'll see him.
Of who?
Well, you'll see him take more responsibility for the continuity on both sides of the ball. I think those days are coming.
I mean, if you ain't starting off like that, can you ever?
Yeah, but you can't keep if you win, you can't keep asking your kids to learn new playbooks. It's just not fair to the kids. Every 2 years, here's another playbook. It's not fair.
Coach Kelly did it defensively.
It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair when he did it. But at least, wait a minute. At least Brian Kelly was an offensive guy.
Yes. Offense stayed the same. Defense changed every year.
That's what I'm saying. He was an offensive guy. So he was like, look, man, do your thing. Man, go ahead, do your thing. You're a defensive guy? No. No.
But we've had great defensive years also, though. I don't know.
You can.
Perspective.
You can. Wait a minute. You have to understand the transition from Mike Elko to Clark Lee was the same staff.
Okay, that's true.
He ran Mike Elko's defense.
Yeah.
It just changed a few things. So that was continuity.
Yeah, Elko. That's a 2 year of good transition, though. We went from Yako to Van Gorder.
Yeah.
And then from Van Gorder to Elko.
Yeah.
And then from Elko to Long. And then from Long to Marcus Freeman. And Marcus Freeman. So that's at Notre Dame, you're gonna have 3 or 4 coaching changes. It's just what it is, because it's too much of a honeypot.
Right.
You a coach at Notre Dame, they're like, ooh, y'all win 10 games? Ooh, head coach.
Yeah.
Oh, NFL, where you want to go? Where you want to go? 1 year?
Yeah.
We can't keep a coach.
Yeah.
So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But if you're the head coach, you never should give up your side of the ball.
That's all I'm saying, man.
Coach Kelly gave up his. He's like, I give up defense. Y'all can take that.
Right.
Offense, shoot, you running monster.
No, it didn't matter what OC came in. You were running Brian Kelly's offense.
Why you think Lincoln Riley can go anywhere and have the same success?
That's all I'm saying. And like I hear what Roger is saying. The point is, when Nick Saban transitioned, he decided this dude is going to come in and establish the framework. He knew Lane Kiffin was going to get a job. He didn't expect Lane Kiffin to be there for 5 years. So it doesn't matter what OC comes in. This is the framework. From that framework, which is a passing offense, I bet you there will be no OC coming into Alabama going 2 tight ends 50%, 60% of the time like they used to back in the day. I can guarantee you that.
They won't have another Eddie Lacy.
I can guarantee you that.
Eric Henry.
So, yeah, the way Bill O'Brien calls plays in comparison to Sark and Lane Kiffin is different. But the framework of what Nick Saban wants his offense to do, Nick Saban is accountable for that. This is what I want. Do it. Do it your way, but this is what I want.
But that's where it gets tricky, because Marcus Freeman told you what he wanted offensively. 2 days later, he's like, it's not what I want, but it's going to work. So it's like, damn. I just hope he don't like golf too fast. You know what I mean?
You know, it was just strange to me. That's why we wanted to ask today, like, was it a mistake? Only time will tell. Right? Only
I
time will
know
tell.
from history though, if you give up your own side, it's gonna be rough for you.
Oh, it
'Cause
is.
Because if you give up your own side and you already given up the side you don't coach,
Yeah.
when are you ever gonna get control of anything other than personnel decisions, from recruiting and stuff? But
And Roger Backman, I totally disagree. Because Nick Saban ran his defense at Michigan State and he ran his defense at LSU. It
and
has nothing to do with merit. When he became a head coach at Michigan State, it was his defense. That's coaching 101. When Kirby got his job, he ran his defense the first year at Georgia.
and
They
it looked
stopped
just
that.
like Saban's because
He
it's
stopped
Saban's.
that.
Because
You don't have to do. That's coaching 101. If it's your side of the ball, you
ain't
are the
giving it.
man.
That's how you
Nobody-
got there.
Right.
What you mean? That's how you got there.
You mean somebody in the building has more autonomy over me and what I do as a coach? Nah.
Because look at how frustrated he looked.
No.
When Tommy did some suspect stuff in the he'll go no phone like, what are we doing?
Man.
What do we run the ball? What's all this? And that's a frustrating for a head coach because you got to ask
Yeah,
questions.
see, this is and Kirby ran Nick Saban's defense.
And runs it at Georgia.
Kirby wasn't coaching. Kirby was running Nick Saban's defense
and recruiting
the way Nick Saban wanted it ran.
just like it. That's why he
Will Muschamp is the defensive coordinator at Georgia, running Kirby Smart's defense.
And when Will Muschamp left Alabama, he took the same defense to Florida and won.
Thank you.
That's why all the SEC. That's what a tree is. A coaching tree.
You.
That means when you leave the tree, you still doing the same.
Dude, this is coaching 101. You don't give autonomy to what you're an expert at as a head coach. You just don't.
Not as a head coach.
No, you don't. Winning coaches don't do that. Historically, they just don't.
Because I'm sure Dabo got some of that offense that he telling them what to do.
Jimbo Fisher has been awful.
Oh, but they're running his stuff.
But they are running his system. Win, lose, or draw.
Off of to being the QB.
People are like, man, football his system is antiquated and old. Yep. And Jimbo Fisher's like, we're still running my system.
Because you see what happened with Jameis? That's all he got to do. You see what happened? That's all he got to do.
That's it.
He's like, come on, I had
Jameis.
So
it has nothing to do with winning and coaching the one champ. It is coaching 101. Coaches are not about to give up or give total autonomy to someone when they're the expert on that side of the ball, when that's their expertise. They just don't do it. And it's strange, and I said before, that Marcus Freeman probably would not have done it if the culture had been different. Maybe. You keep bringing up the time. It does not matter. Nick Saban did it the first year he became a head coach. Kirby Smart did it the first year he became a head coach. Coaches become head coaches, and they don't give other coaches total autonomy. They don't do that. They just don't. Fine, dude. You think Lincoln Riley is giving somebody play calling duties? When he took over at Oklahoma, he called the plays, bro. But nobody giving him play calling duties. It had more autonomy over the offense. No. I don't know how, dude, his brothers, wait a minute. Stoops had his brothers as DCs, along with other people at Oklahoma. They ran Stoops' defense for 20 years. And that was his first big job.
First one.
That was his first big job. They ran his defense for 20 years. Kirk Ferentz, they're running his stuff. It's antiquated. It's old. But Kirk Ferentz is not changing at all. You know why? Because head coaches don't just trust their livelihood to the total autonomy of other coaches. You just don't do that. It has nothing to do with how long you've been coaching. It doesn't.
It's a fact of life, though. You're not going
It is.
and then be like, hey, my homeboy, you can take care of my wife, and I'm gonna just chill on the couch.
Man.
Why would you do that?
Bro, you are an offensive coordinator. Okay? Your head coach, you know.
Yeah, he's like, I want to run the ball, I want to do this and that. I
Wait a
gotta
minute.
figure out how to run an
who's Frank?
offense with
Thank
those
you.
parameters. Like,
Thank
what do
you. Thank you. Thank you. As
'Cause if
head
I
coach
don't, he's
in
gonna be like,
101. As head coach in 101. I'm the head coach. This is what I want to do on offense. This is the framework.
make it happen.
Make it happen.
The way you make offense happen, just put this as the theme.
That's
You know?
it, man.
Should we running that thing?
That's it. This has nothing. This is like, dude, at every level of football, this is how it goes. It has nothing to do with tenure, how long you've been coaching. Every coach knows when I get a head coaching position on any level, it's gonna be this offense or this defense is going to be mine.
Mine.
That's it. Yo, that was a pretty interesting conversation to end the show, bro.
Yeah.
The chat, as always, was lit, man. Thank you, everybody, for your comments, your thoughts. We appreciate you guys so much, man. Oh, you know what time it is. Let's get out of here, look.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, pettiest story of the day brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. What you throwing on the petty train, love?
Man, petty train. I feel like it's so many people.
I got to throw Cameron and Mace. Dude, that show, it is what it is. It's one of the funniest shows out, bro.
Well, he invited Shannon on the show. Oh, yeah, I did want to put Shannon on the petty train.
He went at, he went at the president's wife pretty hard today, bro.
I mean, he
went at Jill Biden pretty hard, bro.
He's been on the petty train recently too. I mean, not only for that, he has some correct sentiments though. However, I think he's been on the petty train just like what he said about paying for his girlfriend's divorce and telling the dude, why you care about this little money, man? I think that's just so crazy.
Man.
Would you pay for your girlfriend's divorce just so she can get through it? I mean, would that make sense?
You could be with her?
So you could be with her.
Would I pay for my girlfriend's divorce?
I think that's petty. Why is it?
How old am I? Because if she's coming out of a situation where she's walking away with nothing from the divorce, and she really needs help to get a lawyer to help her get out of it, I actually might think about it in that way. Are you just gonna leave her hanging?
I don't know if that. I don't know if that's your place to pay for your girlfriend's divorce.
No. I'm not paying for her divorce. I'm paying for her legal fees.
Oh,
okay. That's a difference. I'm not paying for her divorce. I'm paying for her legal fees. That's two totally different things.
Okay.
That's why I said it depends. Like I said,
that does matter on that.
If she's like, man, I really wanted to get this taken care of. I don't have the money for the lawyer. Can I borrow it or can you help? Okay. I can see myself helping. I wouldn't feel like I was helping her well, I guess indirectly, I would be aiding, assisting, and finishing the divorce, but
that's kind of crazy. I just think that's kind of wild.
Yeah, I see I see what you're saying. But that is wild. We're talking about girlfriend and divorce, like Brian Dembo said in the same sentence. That is kind of wild. That's wild.
Yeah, just let it. Some things is best if you let them handle it.
Yeah, that's wild. So Jill Biden, you have to go on the petty train. Man, the fact that you even
considered it,
tweeted it. The fact, let me tell you how low this is. The fact that you would use the situation that happened on Sunday and try to use it politically is sad.
Okay, I can agree with you on that.
It's absolutely sad. The fact that you would stoop to that degree to make it political and then to dredge this thing back up and make it a story for your benefit as if you're bringing
people together.
People together. Man, stop. Like, man, look. LSU, if they do, say no to the invite.
For real.
Say no to the invite.
Iowa should say no. We ain't win.
No, Iowa would go. Iowa would go. I guarantee you Iowa would go. Yeah.
Shaun.
Yeah.
Shaun.
I will be like, oh, we would love to. Yeah,
No,
they would. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. Yeah.
Shaun, you on the petty train, man.
Yeah, throw me on the petty train. I fully believe Lisa Bluter and the Iowa administration would happily accept that invitation.
Even when they lost, huh?
Why would they say no? It's an opportunity to go to the White House.
It's never been ever in history.
Right. They would be making history as the losers. That's my point.
I tell you what, I bet you Caitlin Clark wouldn't go. I bet you she wouldn't go.
You know what? Knowing the competitor that she is left, you might be right.
She'd be like,
you might be right. That might irritate her.
Oh yeah.
That might irritate her. You're right, because I have profound respect for the competitor she is. So you might be
like,
right.
Why would I go? I don't deserve it,
Yeah. I'm sorry, Dr. Jill Biden. I apologize.
Hey,
Dr. Jill Biden, who was at the game. Yes. This is not some little squabble at recess at one of your schools, Dr. Jill Biden.
It was just a point made. That's all. It was a point made. It was a point made, and people was like, "You shouldn't have made the point because we like her better." That's all.
That's wild.
You're what do they call it? A antagonizing protagonist.
Yeah, you know what, D-Rock Irish? Thank you, my brother. Great point, dude. UNC, they got invited to the NIT. They was like, man, we're not going to the NIT. We North Carolina.
Just in the championship. Yeah, we were just in the championship.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, man. It really should be. It should be beneath Iowa and Caitlin Clark to even want to be a part of that. I agree with you on that left. Caitlin Clark probably would scoff at it, but heck, some seniors, they probably be like, man, this is my last time. Man,
yeah.
The White House.
The White House.
Yeah. Sonano,
yeah.
She's not coming back. Yeah. I could see her talking to Coach Bluter like, hey, Coach, this would be a great opportunity. Man. Look, and the White Sox and Michael Kopech. You got to go on the petty train, fam. You can't be giving up 5-6 home runs in the home opener, bro. Like, what? Man.
We asked, I said, what you think of the home opener?
I told you, bro. I've never been this down on Chicago sports ever, bro. I'm like
football coming up. Football, they fixing that thing right up.
I'm dependent on the Bears at this point. That's sad.
The Bulls get any worse, they might get Victor Wembanyama. Y'all gonna be right back on top.
Man, Tim, I don't even know what you laughing at, bro. We said so much in this show. I have no clue if you live or whether or not you're behind us. But this show has been off the rails, dude. We've had it's been a ton of fun. We gave people 2 hours today. This is 2 hours of pure entertainment in Notre Dame football. There's some good stuff today. I might drop this on a Sunday like as a best of.
That's right. Got to, because it's been a lot we talked about.
Brian, I'm sorry, Brian Dembo. I can't rock with the Cubbies. I just can't. I hope I hope they do well. I
Yeah.
think they're going to win more than I think they were projected to win, like 78.5 or something like that. I think they're going to do better than that. But I can't. Yeah, I can't do the Cubs. I can't. It's not. My blood won't let me, bro. My bloodline, my ancestors just won't let me.
Hey, don't even address it.
Dude,
Just
no,
move on.
man. If I go into a Cubs game, the ancestors will pop up on both sides of me. Like,
you really gonna take this ball game?
Are you really here?
They're not playing against each other.
Hey, great show. We see you guys tomorrow for Hump Day. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Have a great day. But most of all, make sure that you spend it different.